5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sonic batteries to power, turbines to speed, to the Popmobile.
And welcome to the Pod Man podcast. Pod people,
Yes.
I don't know. Welcome to Waiting for Review. Hey, Dave. Nice to
Hey,
see
Daniel.
you again. How's it
How
going?
are you? Yeah, not too bad. Are we pod people now or something? I guess we are.
I think we're pod people, yeah. I'm good. I'm just extremely silly because I'm exhausted.
Dude, yeah, I'm sorry. This time slot that we record on is a late one
No.
for you, I know.
It's not about the time, so this is about my week, I tell you.
Oh, man.
I have this thing where last Tuesday I was like 15 layers deep into one like code change about the pricing billing model change that I wanted to do for about 15 years now. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm this close. I just need that thing from the API, from the Stripe API. And it turns out, oh wait, the Stripe API gives me that. But the library, the community library for the Stripe API for Swift on the server doesn't give me that. So it's time to make another pull request. So I'm like 16 layers deep now. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's like 7 or 6. The co-working space is closing. I gotta go home, but like tomorrow I will work on this. And then the next day I was unable for some reason because something comes up like you need to do this now for a big customer or like someone finds a bug or whatever. And then the next day was a bank holiday, and so I was like, haha, I can just like work on this. But then like something came up again and again, and then it was the weekend, and I wanted to do like stuff on the apartment because we're still like settling in, right? And then it was Monday, but Monday comes with lots of meetings, and lots of meetings give me lots of tasks. And then it was Tuesday, and Tuesday I had meetings again, but also sales meetings. And I mean, that's also cool, but also then like I had meetings with another big customer. Of course, that gives me a lot of tasks. And then I had no meeting, but I looked at something else, and I've realized that there's a server that I haven't migrated from its old position to the new position, and that server cost me like $2,000 a month. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that first. And now 2 days later, I have like after like going 17 layers deep again on this thing, I have finally reemerged. The migration has gone without a hitch. To be fair, like no one even noticed.
Yep.
But that server now costs me $7 a month.
Ooh, which
is quite a difference.
Nice.
Like outwardly, nothing has changed. Nothing has progressed towards where I want to be. It's just like a lot of work. It needed to be done, like, right? But I'm frustrated because I want to work on like reducing this technical debt, and I want to work on cool new features and being awesome. And like, you know what? It's just like treading water, like as fast as I can.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah.
I think everywhere I've worked, like there's always that tension, especially like if you've got product company, right? It's because new features bring new opportunities for you. Like obviously you were saying before, sales conversations bring you loads of new tasks. Well, some of those will be things that you'll build to help those customers better, right? So there's opportunity there, and you've got to keep that rolling. Meanwhile, the technical debt can become financial debt, like a $2,000 to $7 reduction. So, yeah, how do you do it? Because this is a like I say, it's a standard problem, right? How do you manage?
It is, yeah. At least it's pretty boring. Like it's always recurring somehow.
Yeah.
And it's not very unique either. Like I thought at the beginning, I thought like, oh yeah, it's gonna be very different if it's my own company, or if I can like make all the decisions, like we can like not have this problem or whatever. And then for a while I thought only I have this problem. If I only had like 2-3 more minions, everything would be cool. Now I do have a few more minions. No, still the same problem. I think this is just a thing, you know? And I think it's a sign of the very best companies that do this, or like, yeah, products that do this really well. I don't think I'm doing it really badly. So I'm mostly okay, but with this, but like, yeah, I wish it would be a bit better. So my strategy for it is, I think, to have and communicate a general direction. Like what are the most important goals? and some way to measure progress toward that direction. Like I hesitate to name the things, but basically I want some kind of KPIs, like some kind of number where I can see like, okay, this is going to the right direction. This is good. And then just like accept that there will always be more things on the list than I can ever do, prioritize, and then just like break them down into small-ish bits so that something gets done. Because I think that's the thing that I have completely eliminated, or well, 90% eliminated, is like, oh yeah, there's a like 4 days worth of change or PR like lying around somewhere. And by the time I come back to it, it's like so stale, it's impossible to merge. Like I haven't done that for a while. Like I want to have changes that are small enough that I can like basically inline them in a day or so.
That's nice. I mean, that's a good tactic. I think it's because I have this with GoVJ as well on a much more smaller level than yours, or in my quote unquote day job workplace. Right, it's a microism of it. But I think in both worlds, one of the things that I've had some success with is both that. Is like slicing stuff up so that you can make that incremental progress against it and land stuff before it's out of date and all of that. That helps. And I see that one like traffic, right? Like that's like I can stand taking longer to get to my destination, but as long as it's like a steady flow versus being stuck. So there's a bit of that. And then the other one that also works for me to some degree is attaching the technical debt in small chunks against a new feature so that it's like, okay, I'm going to do the technical debt that enables this thing that then gives me something new or gives me something that I feel really positive about. And then that kind of sucks me in with the grind. Like I'm not just doing this for the fact that it needs to be done and it's kind of like having a messy floor. It's like I'm doing this because this will make X, Y, or Z then happen. And then that's a motivator, which it sounds like you had a bit of that really, like the cost reduction thing you mentioned before is one of those, right?
Yeah, totally. Also like the modular approach kind of helps. Like sometimes I think that's a feeling thing. I can't really define it, but like if you keep your features like general enough that they can be reused in various situations, but also not generic that you're kind of reinventing Kubernetes every time.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's really helpful because at some point you're like, oh, I need a thing X, and then you realize, wait, I can use the thing that I already built also for X. And if you can get to that place where that happens a lot, that's a really real multiplier. But yeah, it's hard to find a balance between like too generic and too specific. I think I'm really good at that balance. I think that is a thing that I'm just like good at.
I'm getting better at it. It's definitely a skill. But hey, I want to talk about some of my modular approach later on in the show. We've got some show notes of things we want to talk about, and there's a bit that links to. So I'll leave that there for listeners. We'll come back to my modular approach and my Lego bricks that we've mentioned before.
Very good.
Daniel, we're nearly 10 minutes in and we haven't introed the show, and I always feel remiss when we don't do it. So
I love the cold open. I just love cold opens. What can I say? Cold opens to this show, which is called Waiting for Review, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. And your scintillating host to hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. I'm Daniel, and I haven't been to the barber in a while. And I'm here with Dave. His Audi can file his taxes in under an hour.
Actually,
I've just
I don't know how the Audi does
watching. I've just been watching like the middle of Severance season 2.
I need to catch it up. It's been recommended to me, and I did enjoy season 1. So yeah, I'll come back around for that. And actually, I need a new show to watch because I was watching The Last of Us, and season 2 of that is finished.
That. Speaking of, do watch Murderbot.
Okay, I'll add it to the list.
It is very short. Like the episodes are like 20 minutes in length, and that includes the intro, which is almost a minute. And it's very cute and very sci-fi. The premise, if you don't know the books, like it's like made from a book, and I've read the books before and I love them. The premise is basically you have this android, And this android is like calls itself murderbot because it like is a security android, so it has like embedded weapons and whatever. And it has some kind of glitch that deletes some part of its memory, and also the part where, or also kind of hacks the part where it's so-called governor module. So basically, like it doesn't have to do what the humans tell it to do. It chooses to, though, because that way they leave it alone most of the time, so it can watch all the TV shows. And it loves watching TV shows. But it calls itself Murderbot because it suspects it's like a horrible killing machine. And it's a very neurodivergent show.
Yeah, I
and
was
it's very
say
cute,
that,
very lovely. The TV adaptation is pretty neat. I'm not 100% on board with like what actor they chose for playing Murderbot, because I don't know, Murderbot for me is very like genderless, and Alexander Skarsgård is very like male.
Okay. Yep.
But he plays Murderbot really, really well. Like very like anxiety ridden. Like I'm an android. I have feelings somehow. I don't know how to deal with it. Love it.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Actually, I think you sold me on it now. I never knew what it was about. I sort of assumed it was about a robot kind of actually going out and killing people. So it sounds like that's got a lot more depth than I imagined. Cool.
It's cool.
But yeah.
Like it's on Apple. You can watch it. Like it comes out every Friday. I think like the 5th episode comes out in a few days. So you can like really you can really snack them. They're very snackable and light.
Yeah. 20-minute runs is good for me as well, because honestly, I've got, the social media short attention span brain rot that most of us suffer from. So that's kind of cool. Sweet. So you've been technical debting and winning from the sounds of it. So that's cool.
I don't know. In German, you say like this was a harsh birth. Like I was kind of birthing this new way of hosting the server.
Yeah. A long labor. Right. What else has been going on for you, mate?
What else? I've been whale watching, but not actual whales. Beluga whales.
Cool.
Belugas are a family of dolphins, but they're called whales for some reason. They have a long snout. They're very white, and I haven't seen actual beluga whales, but I have seen the airplane that's named after them, which is a transport airplane by Airbus that they use. It's huge. It has this incredibly large fuselage aircraft to transport basically parts of other aircraft. Like it can like fit a whole aircraft fuselage without the wings into its belly.
Okay, so huge. Have you posted any pics? Can I actually link a pic of this?
I'm looking it up right now. Here we go. I just found it. I'm linking it in the show notes.
Do that.
So it turns out there is an airport. Like Hamburg has 2 airports, a public one and one that belongs to Airbus, where they actually not assemble, but like they do assemble some Airbuses there, and also they repair also Airbuses. So like if you're an airline and then your Airbus has a thing, I don't know, it's refitted with something, you fly it to Hamburg Finkenwerder, and they will like refit it. And so, of course, their flight plans are half public. You can look them up, and that airport is about, I don't know, an hour's worth of biking from where I live now. So of course I had to look up exactly when some belugas would be like arriving or departing. Kind of timed my arrival there in a way that I was just like directly underneath the thing, and I got pretty neat photos.
Well, I'm gonna have to check those out, because that's awesome, mate. And I think you may have sent me one of those photos last week, because I remember saying to you, I really need to go down to Wellington Airport and check things out there. But maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But anyway, it's on my to-do list to go and do that, and actually park the car where I can do the Wayne's World thing. I don't know if you remember, where they sit underneath the planes as they fly over and just chat. And then I've always wanted to do that, where you sort of sit on the car bonnet or whatever, and like the time it's the plane goes right over you. Yeah, that's an experience I want.
Like, because the 2 airports are so close, and like they're really fun to bike to. Like I'm kind of becoming an aviation geek, like just by osmosis. Like by now I have like hundreds of photos of planes' bellies. It's pretty fun.
Brilliant. Oh, that's good fun. Yeah, of course I want to do this so I can shoot videos that I can use in my visual art stuff that I make. Yeah.
I can send you mine, like if you want to get a start. You
You
can just
do,
use
but
them.
please shoot it in landscape and not portrait though for me.
I'm sorry, like I'm a TikTok user now, so I'm like always
Yeah,
thinking of TikTok when I
fair
take video.
enough. Oh, I can make it work, but
You just have to cut out the part.
yeah, I'm kind of getting back into that. It's sort of related to what I do with my VJ app, so that's nice. Yeah, but I've got like a laundry list at the moment of different like visual art related projects, some of which overlap with the app and tech. So yeah, there is a bit of that. Yeah, but can I tell you what I'm getting up to this week?
Please.
Yeah, so I've got a week off from my day job, and apart from like a whole load of household stuff that I'm kind of catching up on and a bit of chilling out, I can show you. I've got, so for viewers on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. I have this thing here,
What
which
is that? It's an anti-static
is
bag.
anti-static bag. Let me open it up. I've got a circuit board with
Mm-hmm.
a camera ribbon.
Okay, that looks like
Now what
a Raspberry Pi or something. But what does the ribbon
it's
cable do?
related. So okay, that is an HDMI port, and the ribbon cable on the other end is a CSI connector for the Raspberry Pi's camera input port.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if this is going to work. So this is one of those FAFO type things where
Fuffle.
F around and find out. So the Raspberry Pi 5 has two input sockets on it for cameras. And,
Mm-hmm.
people want this sort of stuff for robotics, right? So then you can have dual cameras and stereoscopic inputs, and there's all sorts of things you can use them for. But then I remembered that there are these cards, which I just showed you, which take HDMI
Mm-hmm.
inputs and convert it into a camera feed. So it'll come in over the CSI port. Now, for me, a Pi 5 having two of those, then my brain instantly went to like, okay, so I could have two HDMI connections. They'll both appear as camera feeds. I can then put together some sort of basic video mixer around that, right? Bring in the new camera feed, bring it all into OpenGL or something, and then I can use
And you get
shaders to do the
teenage
blending.
engineering to do the design and the user interface.
Well, I've got in-house teenage engineering, right? I've got a 18-year-old lad who's 3D printing actual transforming transformers. So yeah, maybe. But the point will be, if I can make this work, then I've got a very cheap HD video mixer relative to anything else that you can buy. And also a fun one because I can program it
Mm-hmm.
myself and do what I want to do with it. And there's a whole load of other stuff, right? I'll probably get a slider and then connect it up with what they call a T-bar, which we can 3D print. And then it will be like a vision mix. A vision mixer tends to have a bar that you can crossfade with, so I can use it for that. Stick some buttons on to turn various effects or bits on, and hey, I've made a hardware video mixer, maybe. But there's a whole load of maybes in this because configuring these things on the Pi 5 is actually quite difficult because a few things have shifted and you've got to play around with actually configuring what they call EDIDs, which is part of how the HDMI signal comes in and the handshake protocol that goes on. So I have to program the right things into the input cards. I don't know if that's going to vary with every input I put in, and that could be a whole mess. I've then got to make it work with the Video for Linux subsystem. There's a few bits of information out there. I'm sort of pulling it all together. So maybe that'll be today. And they're on my desk. And after this call, I've got some time where I can program. So maybe I'll be doing that.
When's the Kickstarter coming out?
No. So this is the thing, right? I've got so many of these ideas and projects, but such little time. And really, I've kind of come to the conclusion that like these things they're my side projects, right? And I'm kind of using it for light relief between getting deep on the app and programming in Xcode and everything else. I'm then doing these things that are not that, so it's a bit of a change, and then coming back. So I don't think it'll be a product yet.
Well,
Yet, he
that's maybe
says.
probably even better. You know? Like you don't have to do this for money. You just have to try to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
No pressure, that kind of thing.
No. And I think if I make it work and it's fun and, you know, the latency is usable and this, that, and the other, and it's actually what I would like it to be, then, you know, if people find it interesting, then maybe I'll turn it into a thing. But like,
then it's too late.
it will not be too late. Yeah, so we'll see, Daniel. Maybe next week I'll be like, hey, none of that worked. I've bought a load of stuff off Aliexpress for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, speaking of Aliexpress,
Mm.
I was nerd sniped by Aliexpress because I was opening Instagram, and then there was some ad that told me like, "Hey, do you want to buy this really nice Apple Watch band for just $50?" And I'm like, "You were just like getting that for $3 from AliExpress and selling it to me for like more than 10 times the price. I'm gonna find this on AliExpress." So yeah, I have this new watch band. It is kind of nice. It's gray on the inside orange. And telemetry deck orange on the outside.
Yeah.
And because I was ordering, like I just like got a few more. Like I have this one, which just looks very similar, but this is like the other one is silicone, but I have one that's like made of cloth.
Oh,
and it looks
nice.
exactly like the Alpine band for the Apple Watch Ultra, but they don't sell that for the normal Apple Watch. So I just got it. And then I was like, yeah, whatever. Like I have $3 more to spare. So I got a cloth one as well that looks kind of like it would go well with a suit. So yeah.
Nice. And that had an orange trim on it as well, right?
It did, yeah. I was kind of going for a lot of orange. So yeah, I got like I've got actually 4 different bands for like $10. One of them was the wrong size for my watch. Like, I don't know, like I think I ordered the correct one, but you know, so this one is also half orange, half black now. But like, I don't know what I do with it. I'm probably going to try to find someone who has a smaller watch. Alex doesn't want it, but whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah,
maybe you can
owner
distribute
of like
amongst your minions.
More bands for this new watch that I have that has a different size, so I didn't have any bands for it.
Nice. Hey, you've just given me an idea. If you and your telemetry deck folks are going to any conferences or anything, you should make sure if they've got Apple Watches that they're also have the brand kind of on the go.
Yeah. I think about this next time.
Yeah, that's cool. So I have other things. We noted things, and I'm wondering where you want to go because I saw DevOps is eating my life.
I'm kind of free associating. Yeah, DevOps is eating with like that was what it was opening with. Like, you know, like I just wanted to do a thing that is a feature, and now I'm like moving servers again. But yeah, speaking of conferences, that is something that I would really like your help with, which is there's a conference in October in London called Server-Side Swift. No, wait, what's it called? Server-Side Swift. Oh, yeah, like Server-Side Swift. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay, cool.
So it's about Swift on the server, as you may feel. And I've been to so many conferences that are not for me in the last few years. Like I've been to like conferences for startup founders, but those are mostly about money. I've been to and like getting cheap labor out of tech people. I've been to conferences about like iOS development, but these days I'm not really developing for iOS anymore. And so I kind of really want to go to a conference that is kind of my people.
Your vibe, yeah.
And so I was kind of like saying that on Mastodon, and someone was like, hey, but you do know, like I was kind of regretting that there's no such conference. And then someone was like, hey, you do know there's Server-Side Swift Conf. And I did not. And so they are taking part in October, and they have an open call for papers.
Okay.
So I'm like,
you should do it, man.
So I should totally hand in a talk.
Yeah.
And the question is like, what am I talking about? I could talk about just like, here's basically all the challenges and hurdles that we had or have. And here's how I'm solving it. Like, here's how the telemetry deck project is structured. Here's like how I do code reuse. Here's how I do like, async await. Here's how I do like different threads for like different worker stuff or whatever. Like I could do that.
You could.
Or I could do ecosystem. Because right now, that is, I think, one of the major downsides of the Vapor ecosystem. It's like basically like if you want to send email, you gotta have Mailgun or you don't have an SDK. If you want to do caching, you can either do like Redis or nothing. There's no memcache support for paper, that kind of thing. Like so,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
the ecosystem is very slim still. Just like give an overview what is there, so that people are going to actually like at least use the existing ecosystem, and maybe also point out like areas where like third party like open source opportunities would be like really nice.
Could be
That's
cool.
my second idea.
I have one that I think may be related to what you said first, but I think that it's really interesting in terms of how you've actually got the server setup working now with Kubernetes and that side of things. And like, I think a view of like how the stack is working there and how you're so able to link everything together for telemetry deck across multiple nodes, and how you've been able to migrate between different providers. It's sort of adjacent to Swift itself, but like I guess the process is interesting to me, because I suspect that's like a scale and an aspect of server-side Swift that is clearly the next level up from just making something that works and putting it on a box, you know? So I think there could be something there, because you've actually put a lot of effort into that in terms of making it quite easy for you to do relatively with everything you've got set up. So that could be an angle as well, because I think you're touching areas that are not fully typical.
So basically the scaling part is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Like you have the thing now how do you scale it up like technically?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
I am writing that into one of the many to-do lists that I have.
Yeah. Because I think also the ecosystem and that side of stuff and things, I think quite a few people there will be quite acutely aware of some of those things. So I think with any of this, like having a bit of a positive spin of like, well, okay, where can we take this, could be quite good. Because, yeah, you know, like it's very easy to point out the issues. Yeah. And then, did you have anything else, Daniel, like in terms of ideas and things?
Yeah, but I don't think I'd want to do that. Basically, like how to do code sharing between a Vapor app and a iOS app, because that's kind of what I did at the beginning, right? And of course, so I have lots of strategies, but at the same time, like I'm not doing it right now, and I'm not really interested in it. Like, but I think it would be like that would be the most crowd pleasing, not even to the people on the conference, but like if I get that on YouTube somehow, like that will probably get the most clicks. And so that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, should I think tactically? But I'm thinking so much tactically these days. Like, I just want to do like something fun.
I was going to say, you said this was something for you rather than just being all about the business. And yeah, do something that's fun, mate. I think that is really important, and it'll be a better presentation anyway, because that will then come through from you. Like anything that you're really enthusiastic about, that'll be a good talk.
Exactly. And then I also need a gimmick again, because all my talks had a gimmick. I have no clue about what the gimmick is going to be.
When you're closer to a talk, we can brainstorm that one together again if you like, but maybe not on the show, because you might want to keep the gimmick a surprise.
Yeah, no, though the gimmick has to be kind of a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, but I won't be able to be there, so, you know, maybe I'm a safe confidant for the surprise. Although, you know, like, I'd almost kind of like to be, even though it's not my area, but I do find it interesting. So I think if there's an online track or if there's anything recorded, I'll definitely be interested in taking a look. I'm kind of moving out of Swift in some ways with the Kotlin multi-platform stuff and the things I'm looking at there. That's a whole other story, and we've talked about it on the show, but I'm in a place where I've accepted that's going to be a longer learning curve than I would like, which means I still need to push features in my apps in the Swift code base for now. That's fine. It's on a long track. But I still find Swift enjoyable to program in, is the other thing. So, yeah, and it does interest me. I do love the fact that you've used it to build your entire stack. Pretty much. It's awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I have a few ideas. You haven't really shot down any of them.
I've not, because I think you were kind of in the right area. Like, think about the things that you've done with telemetry deck, and then think about the things that might be unusual. I think it is probably the steer I'd give you. That's why I was calling out the scaling, because
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people with server-side Swift, it sort of becomes like, I needed an API for my app, so I stood up a basic endpoint that does some CRUD stuff, and now, that's it. Whereas like clustering, caching, all of that, it's quite next level. So if you do it, I'm definitely gonna enjoy seeing it if I can.
They do have videos. I do not know if they will live stream.
Okay.
But yeah, like there's a few like steps in between. Like I have to build a proposal, they have to accept it, and then I actually have to build a talk. So I'll keep you posted.
Well, I look forward to it anyway. Like, I think if you don't do this, by the time you've put forward a proposal and have an idea of a talk, it could still be, if you don't do it, it could still be worth you actually recording something for YouTube or something like that.
Totally. I kind of thought about, like, I live in Germany's second largest city now. I should probably like go to some meetups. Like, I don't want to be among people all the time, but at the same time, like, there's probably like a Swift meetup in this city.
There's probably a Cocoa Heads or something, right? So
yeah. I
I
actually saw a Cocoa Heads thing on meetup.com the other day. So yeah, if I find some time in my endless to-do list, or even if I don't, like I should carve out some time. I should probably go to one of those.
Well, I have a strong suspicion you may not be the only server-side Swift person in the village, as it were, where you're living now. So
I'm the only server-side Swift person in the village.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. And hey, if anybody is listening to this who is not that far from Daniel in Germany and Hamburg, and you are a server-side Swift person and you haven't reached out to him, stop lurking. Let him know you're around. That could be quite fun.
Sure. Just like hit me up on Mastodon, or my contact details are all over telemetrydeck.com.
Exactly.
Which, yeah, is running on the server-side Swift /Vapor.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is not like, there's no plan, but I have like, my brain is making these jumps, and one of the jumps it's making right now is like, how like I'm a patron for this Formula One podcast, and they kind of read out telemetrydeck.com as one of the sponsors every time they record. And like, it's kind of an in-joke among the Patreons to sometimes rename their name so that they have like to read out something else. And now, like, the Formula One world is beginning to talk about F1 the movie, or as they call it, F1 the movie. So I kind of renamed myself to Telemetry Deck the movie on Patreon yesterday. Let's see if they pick it up for the next episode.
Brilliant.
Could also do this like Telemetry Deck com, but I don't think the joke works.
No, I think Telemetry Deck the movie works there.
Oh, but I spelled out colon.
Right, yeah, okay. Now I get it. That's great. I kind of want to tell you about a little app that I've been building. It's a bit of a topic shift. Is that okay? Can we?
Does it have your Lego brick approach?
It does. I'm doing a callback to the start of the show, Daniel, so I kind of buried the lead on it. Yeah.
Nice. What's it about?
Picture the scene. I'm scrolling into Instagram, and a friend of mine in New York posts up in a group chat that we've got with a whole bunch of visual artists, most of them based around New York, actually. It's his group. And he was like, I need an app that sends a video feed. When I press start on playing the video feed, it also needs to trigger a MIDI signal to start my synthesizer. He's got one of these Groovebox devices. I've got one behind me.
And he's gone. I think he's still talking, but he's not talking to the microphone. So we will just like...
Damn it. Like, he's very, very directional. There it is. Yeah, sorry about it. I've got one of these on behind me. I'm putting it on camera.
It's a MIDI device with like, I don't know, 12 or so buttons, lots of sliders, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a Roland Groovebox MC101. It has lots of sliders and dials and things, but you queue up music on it, you queue up MIDI tracks and loops and things, and then you can perform them live and they loop and it's all synced. So it's actually a really fun little thing, and he makes shows with that. So the point is he's got a audio visual thing, and he wants an app that sends the visual and starts the sequence for the track for the song in sync. And he was like, do I know anybody who can build this? I've got $250. Not a lot, I know, but there's community rights. There's that. I messaged him and I'm like, dude, I don't want your money, but if I make an app and it's actually useful, I will put it in the store as well. And then that's how I get whatever out of it. But really, we'll see. It might only be useful for this one thing. And so, yeah, I've used my Lego blocks to put this thing together. I had the basic app working in like an hour and a half, because I was able to just land GoVJ's core in for the video side and wire it straight up. So, and then I made a very quick like file loading screen that loads the videos that you've got stored in the documents directory. So that's the method of loading stuff in. You use files or you export from the camera roll and it's there. So really hacky and basic. But you load a loop up or a video up and it then has it. It will play it. Video out goes out. I had all that working really quickly because, again, I've modularized this thing. And so it was literally just import the library, put the video display in the right part of the Swift UI view, and then wire the buttons up to send the video URL into the stack. So that was there. And then, of course, there's all the bits I don't have. And that's been the longest track of all of this. I had to bring in some MIDI stuff to do the start and stop signals. And yeah, then we had it basically working. And can you guess what the longest track was of this?
And I guess what the longest track was?
Yeah, what the longest thing to build.
User interface. It's always user interface for me.
Yeah, the UI's had a bit of time to just make it nice, but we are going quite basic, so that wasn't too bad. Was actually finding out a few things that I kind of knew about, but this made it really prominent. So it has to play a video and also start the music, which it starts with a MIDI start sound signal.
Huh?
And they have to be in sync.
Yeah, syncing video to audio is just like a solved problem, right?
Yeah. So bear in mind, the video's been made with audio in mind, and he's already synced it in terms of the original copy of the video. But then it's a live mix production, so that's why we're doing this, right? So it can then be messed around with and done on the fly. The video...
I do remember there was some sort of thing where you could like pre-buffer a video, but you had to do it and then also like set it to pause at the same time or something like that.
Yeah, you can do a bit of that.
Too far gone. That's awesome. Like I love it when people like use the thing that I'm building. New York, the city that never sleeps. Oh wait, what was it? Vegas? I don't know. Do cities even sleep? Like cities don't sleep, right? But awesome, yeah. Do share some screenshots or something, or like information about like if they're using it, or just send it to me. I'll post it and then we can link it in the show notes. I would totally take that challenge. Yeah. Turns out I am now that I'm not meeting Lisa every day. Like I've suddenly lost my fear of being cringe on the internet and video content. And like have like every time we meet, we make like weird cringy internet videos for all the platforms. And it's just like super fun. But now of course we're on opposite side of the country. So I don't know. Probably. Yeah. Just like write a script and then just like act. Right. But and for my bitty bedtime now. But a tiny thing before we go. Do you wanna talk about like timing of this episode? I don't know. Like I am.
It's hard because you're not in the
It's
iOS dev
hard.
such.
Like yes, but even if I was, like the last few days were the last few years were all about like Apple Intelligence and Siri and stuff, and there just hasn't been any progress really being made. Like we were promised lots of like, oh yeah, like this is like interruptibility, and like, oh yeah, like Siri will now be able to access app intents, and then like that didn't really surface. But at the same time, the AI world kind of standardized around the MCP protocol, like that allows AIs to just like interact with apps. And so like we can talk about that at some point in the future, because that's something I've been looking at a bit. And so I don't know, maybe that's the delay, because Apple was like, oh wait, everyone else is using the standard, maybe we should use the standard too. I don't really know. But like nothing really has been coming out except rumors of a new UI. So I'm all for new UI. Like Sebastian DeWitt has made this really cool like blog post about like what it could look like. I'm gonna link it in the show notes later. But apart from that, like it could be just a runaway success, like where they all right, Siri just works now. Here's all the cool intelligent stuff that we promised you for 2 years. It's finally there now. We just waited until this WW2 actually sell it to you. Or it might be another year of vaporwave, vaporware, or it might be something in between where they're like, oh yeah, Siri is cool now, but also it doesn't work if you're in Europe or whatever. And then I'm also like, I mean,
what he's actually using.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was like, like years ago when Apple, like when every time like before the WWDC keynote, like Apple stock would go way down, and then during the keynotes would drop even more, and all of us were always like, oh yeah, we should probably buy Apple stock at exactly this point, and we never had the money to do so. And I mean, like I'm not rich or anything, but like I was like, I could probably buy 1 or 2 shares. And we were talking about this, and I'm like, I do not trust that the stock price will rise definitely after this.
No,
I wouldn't want to bet a few $100 on, oh yeah, this is gonna go up. So that has very much changed. That is part of my like relationship with Apple that has very much changed. But I mean, it's also okay. Like it's just a company. Let's see what they bring. Like, I would be all for a new UI, because I don't know, new UIs are fun, and I love how like Apple historically has like really good UI designers, and they have very thoughtful UI where like they have like they're building a whole system where things just have like intrinsic meaning. And like look at the blog post by Sebastian DeWitt that I linked in the show notes. Like it kind of talks about this a lot as well. And so I'd be happy to look at this, and also like the trends that they set will usually like radiate out into the big industry. So you could just like build something similar with KMP or on web apps or whatever. So yeah, that would be kind of cool. Also, like there's a rumor that they're standardizing the version numbers to just the year number, which would be pretty cool. So we'd be seeing iOS 26. I had a look at the telemetry data set, and that has a few instances of iOS 19. It has none of 26. So if they do that, it seems like it's a marketing version thing right now. Like that the versions that are out there, like in code, they tell themselves they're iOS 19. Which I probably would do the same, especially with like, especially macOS. Like ever since macOS like has been named by like places in California that I don't know. Like,
and we're going to run out of those, right? To really use,
when you like run out, as in I don't know. Like I haven't like recognized a place name in California for like 5 years, and like the names of the macOS versions have to be gibberish to me. Right. Or they should just like use famous like cities and places in other countries as well. Like, like macOS Wellington.
That could be fun.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
macOS Barcelona. macOS Leinfelden Echterdingen. It's a small town somewhere. All right. I will. Thank you, everyone, for listening. That was a really fun show to record. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube. Send us emails at contact@waitingforreview.com. Also join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. And also, you need a new chore before we tell you where to follow us, because you need to do your chores. And I'm going to have a tricky one for you. Put those dishes into the dishwasher. That's your chore while you are like when your podcast player is like skipping on to the next episode of whatever you're listening to. Just like deal with the dishwasher.
Excellent.
Right. Dave, where can people find you? Right. Please always talk to me on Mastodon because that's just my favorite platform. Like I'm on the others as well, but like I just feel most at home on Mastodon.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm Daniel at social.telemetrydeck.com there. You can also talk to me on Blue Sky, but like I so wanna like change my name there, and I've like always forget how to spell my existing name. So you're just gonna have to find me there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. This has been fantastic. See you next week or see you after Dub. Bye.